Live with BlockParty. My name is Hefe. This is No Futuristic. Uh, this is BlockParty weekly every Friday night. We are a couple crypto fanatics, crypto fans, and we just talk about everything, the latest and the greatest happening in the crypto scene, specifically crypto Twitter and our DAO friends and all their shenanigans. And it's a good time. We're also in the Discord, so if you want to join us and be part of the conversation, we're in the Discord hanging out. So yeah, bring your whatever, come hang out with us. And we're about to just talk about what's been happening this week. No futuristic, man. How's it going?
Things are good. I'm just doing a quick wellness check on our stream. Make sure it's working.
Oh yes,
To
please do
uh,
the
no
wellness
futuristic, man.
check.
Oh, it's working. Everything's good. All right.
Excellent, excellent.
Let
Yeah,
me.
we
Yeah.
are on GMI's Twitch. We are also on Twitter, and we're on YouTube, so you can check us out there, GMI friends. And yeah, I guess we can get right into what we got tonight. Uh, well, I guess how's your week been? First and foremost.
My week's been good. It's been. I can't complain. My birthday is next week, so I'm just feeling amped. Uh, yeah, just been on Twitter a lot. There's been a lot of crazy stuff that's happened this week, so just paying attention, gathering up as much information, and just having fun. How about you, buddy?
Hold up, your birthday. You said your birthday is next week.
Yeah, I turned 40.
Oh man, I mean that's kind of a milestone. Like I just turned 30 this year, so that was kind of like a big one. We celebrated. We actually went camping. It was like a big camping. We had like huge party there. It was a good time. So,
Yeah, it sounds great.
so what do you got planned for your turning 40?
Nothing. I have nothing planned at this point. The only thing planned is my girlfriend's birthday is on the 18th, so we're like split right in the middle because mine is the 4th of July. So we're gonna do on the 11th. I think it's the 11th. We're doing a pontoon trip. We have like 15
Right.
of our friends. We're going on a day trip on a pontoon on the lake. I went out on the lake on a separate pontoon a couple days ago. It's a lot of fun. We're gonna be going from like 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. just drinking and grilling. There's a slide on the pontoon so you can go into the lake. And then after that, we have a kickball game. So my job is to make sure that everybody on the kickball team can make it to the game so we don't forfeit. So that's the big plan. On my birthday itself, I'm keeping it low key. It's a
Yeah.
national holiday. So, most things are going to be closed anyway.
Preoccupied.
I'm probably just going to chill, like go chill with my girl and then low
Yeah.
key night. Maybe we'll see some fireworks. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. That's a good night for sure.
Yeah.
I'm all about the low key. I never really had big parties for like the 25th, 30th. I guess 40th is the next big one, and then you go on from there. But yeah, man, that's cool. That's good.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
But yeah, with me this week, let's see what I did this week. I was actually this has been kind of more of a mellow week for me. I've been hanging out with some friends, seeing some family this week. We threw like two get-togethers this week, so I had people over, and that was a good time. So just kind of just enjoying like the start of my summer here, honestly.
Yeah, how's the weather been there? Like in Nashville today, like my studio right now, it's 80 degrees. I have my AC running in the next room and it's doing nothing. It was 98 degrees in Nashville today, but apparently there's like Canadian wildfires, so it's kind of smoky and hazy outside. The air quality has dropped kind of considerably over the last few days. I know other Midwestern states have complained about that.
Interesting. I mean, I'll be honest. There's no smoke over here. Like I live pretty close to the West Coast, where a lot of these wildfires have been happening, and we had a couple of smoky days, but for the most part, I thought it was mostly east, eastern Canada. So if you live out more east, then maybe or southeast, if you live more down southeast, you might be actually experiencing some of that.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I know some people in New York were saying that some of my friends were saying it's a bit hazy there. So just you know, it's just hot. It's so fucking hot. So I can't
Hmm.
wait. Like summer just feels like it really ripped the bandage off and went just directly into this heat. But I just like to think there's only like 2 more months of like crazy heat. I mean, Tennessee it's going to be 80 degrees all the way until like November. So Just want to get these really hot days out of the way because I feel like I'm cooking whenever I go outside.
Oh man, I'll tell you, I've been on top of my garden because like that's another thing is in this heat, like shit like that. You got your lettuce, you got all your stuff. It like it gets past the tipping point where like you actually might start going bad. Like it starts burning and getting all shriveled up and stuff from all the heat, like you said. So it's like going outside, watering everything, just like staying on top of it. Cause like yeah, you're right. You turn your back on that, and your tomatoes are all kind of like shriveled up, and you know your lettuce is like falling over. So, uh, you know that's actually another thing I have to keep an eye out for. But everything's doing good. Like I'm doing everything except my watermelons. I don't know why.
Ooh.
Watermelons apparently don't grow very well in Canada. They just don't.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It grows on a vine, I'm assuming, right?
It grows on a vine. Yep. But mine are about that big. They're about that tall. So
Wait, I can't. I have to see. Okay, now I see it. Yeah.
yeah, about that high. So they're a couple inches. You know.
Couple inches. But they're not making it. You feel like they're just not going to make it?
I mean, it would be pretty hilarious if I got anything like a tiny watermelon. That'd be kind of cool. But no, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get anything from that this year. Everything else is doing good though. Like I got some tomatoes, squash. I'm doing some lettuce, doing some broccoli. You know, I like broccoli, so you know, carrots, onions, all the stew vegetables.
Do you think is broccoli hard to make?
it, you know, it's my first year growing that. It grows a lot bigger than you expect. Like I thought I was gonna get like 8 broccolis like growing in this little like square thing, and like they start to grow big, man. Like I actually had to end up like uprooting some of them to make room because they were kind of like,
Uh,
you know, I'm down to 3 now from 9. So I was growing 9 and got 3 because they're just grown so large, you know.
how long does it take to grow broccoli?
I feel like it takes a long time. I feel like it does just by looking at it. It just grows so slow. But like some of these are new, man. Like I used to just grow tomatoes every year. I was a tomatoes guy, you know. Just never really bought tomatoes from a store. I just always kind of grew my own tomatoes. Um, and this year I had the room to expand my operation a little bit, and so I got everything, man. I got a little garden, a feast going on. I got strawberries, I got blueberries, I got, you know, I got some potatoes going. We'll kind of see what works out, what doesn't. I started putting stuff up on Lens, and I should keep going with that. I should keep
Yeah,
people posted on that.
the Gachi Gardener. That's what it was called, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Lens is tricky. I've been doing my GM tweets on Lens, but it gets so little engagement. So it's like, man,
Yeah.
at this point, I just think I'm doing it for the airdrop, the potential of an airdrop.
I feel like there was some pullback on Lens after this bear market started getting really drawn out. I think there were people that have taken a step back and are maybe not as engaged with it. So,
Well, that's like everything, man. Like if you're looking at the NFT market today, it just like took a dump. I mean,
oh yeah,
Ethereum prices have went up, but like everything is down. There's like crazy stuff happening with Azuki this week. The Board Ape Yacht Club dropped under 40 ETH for the
oh
apes.
shit.
The mutant apes dropped under 7 ETH. So it's like everything is dropping today. It's been bad.
I'll ask you one thing, man. If you know there's blood in the streets right now, if it gets bad, if your board ape that you wanted to buy gets down to the price you sold it at, which was I think 70 whatever, I don't know how much you sold it at, but it was around 6 7 eat something like that. Like, would you buy that board ape again?
If I had to eat, maybe, but I don't, so I can't. But with that said, I like if it went down to 7 ETH, I think then we're in a Cool Cat scenario. Like right now, as a Cool Cats owner, Cool Cats are trading. I can actually check the prices on OpenSea. Cool Cats, the floor right now for a Cool Cat, I'll show it there, is 0.59 ETH. That's crazy. I literally watched this go from 15 ETH down to 0.59 ETH. So I
Dang.
like yeah, I was reflecting on the Azuki. Azuki had like a drop, a mint for its holders, elementals. The Azuki floor price was like 15 to 17 ETH like a week ago. It is right now at 8.2 ETH. They basically did something similar with the Cool Cats. They had a release and then they tanked their floor. The beans from Azuki was at 2 ETH. It is now at 0.46 ETH. There, even the mint itself, which was going at 2 ETH, that's what the mint price was, is at 1.68 ETH. Like everything is
Dang,
tanking. So
dude.
like if Bored Ape Yacht Club went to 7, there's no reason it wouldn't go down to 1. I
Hmm.
would wait because like this is a falling knife. Like that's how I feel.
Yes.
Like I was talking about it on a Twitter space yesterday when Cool Cats dropped the Cool Pets. Cool Cats were around 15 ETH. They dropped to 10 ETH. The Cool Pets were selling briefly for like 2 to 3 ETH. Now, like they dropped the Shadow Wolves. Like I bought a Cool Pet at half a ETH, thinking like I had a free one. I bought another one thinking it was a good bet because I bought the dip, and it just kept dipping. Cool
Yeah.
Pets now are like they were here before. I think 0.07 ETH or something like that. So these things fall, they continue to fall. That's how I feel. Now,
Hmm.
there's you said the saying, if there's blood in the streets, you should get greedy. I agree with that, but I wonder if this is just a falling knife. Like
Yeah.
today, we had bad news. Like the SEC is saying that they think the spot ETFs for Bitcoin based from, I think they've seen it from Fidelity and from BlackRock. They said that these spot ETF applications are inadequate. So part of that sell off might be because of that. I don't know, but I worry that we're in a falling knife scenario. Like
Yeah.
I actually was considering buying one of these heavy metals, which is, we'll talk about that later. It's Yuga
Hmm.
Labs' newest game thing, which kind of stole a whole bunch of shit from Abagachi. It feels
Ooh.
like, yeah.
Hot
Uh,
takes.
these went up to zero point 0.8 ETH once they announced the game was launching and they gave a trailer. Now they're back down to 0.66, and it's because people might not. You deliver and people somehow figure out a way to FUD it. Like they want you to deliver, then you deliver something, and then everybody's pissed because it's underwhelming. So I think the whole market faces that right now.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just like an apathy towards like where in the bull market, it was a complete opposite, the polar opposite. Really, it was like you really didn't have need to have much to go a long way, to get supported a long way. You didn't need to have much, and now it's like the complete opposite. We're seeing like the fundamentals, or we're seeing like obvious, uh, or at least perceived value being created by some projects, and it's like. People aren't interested. They're just apathy.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be interesting what happens in the next couple weeks, because this also, like, I keep drawing back tangents to like DeFi or JPEG Summer 2021, and this kind of feels similar. Like all floors are falling, but ETH is starting to go up. So in 2021, it kind of like the market went through like a quick bear. It was like maybe a month of like down market in July, and then in August we saw this huge wave of volume
Yeah.
because Wall Street Bets got into, I think, Pudgy Penguins, and the market flooded. It went from 20,000 active wallets to 200,000 in a couple weeks.
Hmm.
If I'm getting similar vibes, but to be honest, I don't know what the catalyst, like there's no catalyst currently that I could see in the next month that would bring in a 10x in terms of users, because realistically, we're not going to see floor prices go up until we see new entrants into the market.
Yeah, exactly. We need new entrants into the market. I do think there will be another wave that comes in, but I really think it's going to be through meme coins. Like that just seems to be like if you look at Dogecoin and how many people, Redditors specifically, bought Dogecoin because they thought it was going to be a tipping currency on Reddit, and then Elon Musk got into it. Like that was a significant amount of people technically that got onboarded into, you know, a form of crypto, and then later, I mean, I'd be curious to know what the retention was on that, but I think it could be meme coins. I think meme coins, and also really like, and this is like a very subjective, but like particular pieces of art, like particular artists, like one of ones of artists, things that have made significant waves in like a traditional art world. Like there are collectors out there right now looking for specific things, and if you kind of know what they're looking for, you can try and be there for those art drops, right? You can follow those artists, you can be involved with their work a little more closely. and really benefit from that. Like example, some of the early Murat Pack pieces, I bought some of those, and that was like really cool, kind of getting into that early to see that benefit. And I wasn't even buying like one of ones or anything; it was just open editions, right? So just trying to follow artists, and maybe I think I want to make some sort of a video or a guide on that, but there is a way to kind of seek out work that people desire, and of course, you got to like it yourself too. Like, I don't think anyone should buy art specifically if they don't like it, because you might end up hanging on to it way longer than you realize also. And so, at least if you like it and you're hanging on to it, you get the value, the intangible value of being able to appreciate it as a piece of art that you own, at the least, right? Otherwise, you're just holding something you don't like, and then there's a whole bunch of other emotions that get involved, right?
Yeah, precisely. So we're just going through. Yeah, if you're in it for the art, then you can't really take an L.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless something bad happens to the artist, and then you have to distance yourself from the artist.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a free to play element, and I think you will touch on that at some point. But I think free to play games could be a really great way to get people into the concept of crypto, at least before they start actually actively participating in it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what worries me about that? Like, and this is me speaking from my perspective as a partnership lead. I've been like reaching out to tons of games in crypto, and the majority of the games at this point are just not ready to play yet. But even the ones that are not ready and moving towards being ready, the majority of them are free to play versions of NFT games. They're also the industry, at least in my opinion, from this like perspective that I have, seems to be shifting away from reward tokens, like the Ponzinomics of rewards tokens. Because if you have a token that is a yield, it's gonna go to zero. Because people, unless you have sufficient sinks, and we'll talk about heavy metal with Bored Ape Yacht Club because they're
Mm-hmm.
actually using ApeCoin in the game as a sink. But it's a whole fucking thing. We'll get into it in a little bit. But if now I'm seeing a trend of games that are no longer rewarding tokens but want to reward NFTs, like assets
Yeah.
to the the gamer, which becomes harder if you're trying to do rental infrastructure stuff because you can't split an NFT. You can't just split it between the owner, the lender, and the scholar or the guild or all that.
It's
So
not really
I've seen
fungible in that sense.
so I've seen more of a move, at least personally. It seems like most of these games are moving towards free to play formats. I'm sure there are a lot of games. Oh, to be fair, also though, I'm mostly looking at games that are EVM compatible. There's a ton of stuff on Solana that I've like talked to, like I've been talking with Robo Heroes, but we can't partner with them because they're not EVM. So it's doesn't really help us.
What are your thoughts on the gaming models where you're actually playing to earn the rare items, which are, like you said, NFTs, but they are things you can sell on the marketplace? Um,
I mean, I think that works. I'll look it up. Go on my Twitter. I read about this today. Mongrail. Okay, here, yeah. Adam Weitzman. Well, he's a Bored Ape Yacht Club member. Let's just make this a little bigger for the friends at home who can't read. Um, I found out yesterday that Mongrail is the 18-year-old gamer who came in first place in Dookie Dash. He was getting offers on the Golden Key, which was the prize for the top spot for Dookie Dash, up to I think $2 million, something like that. So he sold the Golden Key to this guy Adam Wheatsman, and he's saying that he, Mongrel told him that he was able to, with the money that he got for selling the key, he was able to buy a house for his family. So
wow.
these prizes are real, but like that's why I brought up the idea of like, yo, if we're gonna do a gotchi battler, we need to put up like $300,000 of prizes that people would want to actually come in and play, because this Web3 gamer would not have come in and tried this had he not had an opportunity to win a huge prize. So having those prizes, even if they're assets, as long as there's a liquid secondary market, it could work. The thing is, like, I mean, I host Orium Game Night, right? I can't tell you how many times in the last, like, however long we've been running game night, that someone wins a prize, I give them the prize, And then the next day I see them in the bazaar trying to sell the prize under the floor or putting it up for sale in the bazaar because I know their address. Now I don't judge that because that's part of the game, right? But it is like that is one of the issues that you're going to run into if you're rewarding people in assets is that they're most likely going to dump it because they need their yield. So all you're doing is dragging the asset price, the floor price down depending on the asset. So this is a case where it worked because this is a huge prize. They also had ape sinks tied into it. You had to spend ape coin to like get boost or go further in the game. So there's like a whole bunch of it can work, I think, like, but it has to be like it has to be a good game that can draw in players who want to play for a decent prize.
Yeah, and there's real skill involved too. I think that that's what makes it fun, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I believe Yuga is doing a competition with the heavy metal stuff. Let me see if I can find
Oh
anything on it.
yes, maybe we can talk about heavy metal real, next with everything that's going on here with the mongrel gamer. I guess that was the last version of what they put out. Now they're thinking about something completely different. Is that right?
Yeah, this is it's just different because it's more like Avagachi than most people will care to admit. Let me see if I can find. I want to find the trailer. Oh, the trailer came from Board Ape Yacht Club. Okay, so I'll show you the trailer, and then we'll look at some of the gameplay stuff that's come out recently.
Yeah.
Let's just find the trailer. I retweeted it yesterday at some point. Trailer. Where the hell is the trailer? Game guide. They did it smart too because they released all these game guides with it. Okay, so here's the trailer. I like the lo-fi vibes. Interesting stuff. That's
Hmm.
their game is called The Forge, right? So that actually does not show anything about the game. We'll go over
I was
here
a
and we
little
can
bit
look.
confused with the context. I know those heavy metals were they airdropped to the board ape holders, or was it a completely different sale?
I think they were airdrop, but I'm not 100% sure. So
It's
I'm
like a
showing right
pet.
now on the screen. Yeah, it's a pet. Exactly. So basically, they have plots of land. This is like one of them. And they can craft on it. They have a portal that people can come and visit their plot of land. They can add and craft different things. But apparently, this pet also shits all the time. So you have to clean up the shit. There have been people complaining about it. Let me see if I can find any of the pictures. There have been people complaining that, oh, yeah, here, like, oh crap, my like this stupid thing just shat all over everything. You have to constantly, it's a pet. You have to take care of it all the time, or you like
Dang.
get injured. So the floor price dropped today. A lot of people think it's because this is the type of game that you can't play by yourself. You can play by yourself, but you can't play 40 versions. If you have 40 of these heavy metals, you can't really play all of them. So it becomes like the gotcha thing where you want like a rental system. So actually, Orium Network has been looking into like delegate cash and like potential use cases to create a rental market for this stuff, although it's very early for that kind of thing. But yeah, like you could see the game, it kind of feels like Avagachi. It's a crafting game, but apparently your ranking, like there's going to be a vote component. I'm not doing this thing justice. I should be giving more information because I don't know all of it. But there's like a voting mechanism that's happening where you can ask people to come and vote on your, I guess, parcel or whatever it's called, and your ranking will determine the level of your, I guess, weapon for the actual battle part of this game.
That's
So
like a
they've
homeowners association kind of thing. Like
almost,
everybody
yeah.
has their ranking.
Yeah, and there's what's his name? Garga, who's one of the founders, Greg Solano. He actually put out a post yesterday talking about the game. See if I can find it. He's talking about how it's different. See if I can find it. Oh yeah, this one. So he's basically saying how like Dookie Dash was a short form kind of thing. It only lasted for a couple weeks. This game loop is only gonna last for a couple months, and it's a way different kind of game than the other one. So it's like here, Forge is how we take a HP from Evolution 1 to the next stage. You won't need twitchy reflexes like you did with Dookie Dash. This space is creative, social, and funny. So Forge was designed to tap into all that. You can win and just be chilling. The game starts off as a mix between a pet game and a casual world builder, but later develops into a dungeon crawler. Unlike Dookie Dash, Forge will be live for a couple months, then poof again, it disappears. Tell me this doesn't sound familiar. Like we're talking about farming mechanics and like there's gonna be on the other side farming stuff. They talked about different elements, all this other stuff. And it's just funny because I remember being in New York for NFC NYC 2022 and Jesse, aka Golden Cross, taking the stage with a representative. I think it was the CEO of Animoca Brands, and they talked after. Jesse was telling us how this guy was very impressed with everything we were talking about with Avagachi, and then they turn and now they're doing all this shit, and it's like they're doing this like a year late, like, and
Yeah.
their audience isn't really a big fan of it if you go by the price on OpenSea, which is clearly starting to drop. Let's see where it is.
I think the DAO component was a big part of the way we did it as pets because you also want a community behind, kind of obsessive about these things and is like looking at the traits and everything. That's what makes Avagachi so interesting. I'm not going to get too shilly here, but like there's more than, talk to anybody in that community about buying an Avagachi and see what kind of, comments and answers you get.
Yeah, which
But
is
do
interesting.
these things have traits? Like speaking of that, do these things have traits, and are they all kind of different in like abilities, or like how does it work?
Let's take a look because some of them they are priced differently, so there's
Yeah.
probably different tiers. Let's see what the traits are. Yeah, back attachments, the body, companion, head, faceplate, crest, HV type, HV version, weapon system. So yeah, these all will. They're all different, I guess.
Hmm.
Levels because these are seem to be more expensive, 1.42. So interesting.
Like a
I
little
don't know how.
more evolved.
Yeah, but built into the game is like sinks for ApeCoin. So I tweeted about it earlier. Let's just find that. I saw someone else tweet it, so I copy pasted their tweet because that's the engagement farming hack.
Yeah.
Right here. In the 21 hours, this was earlier today, 21 hours of the game existing at $2.24 a ApeCoin, almost $60,000 of ApeCoin has been burnt in the game. Now, last I checked, this was like maybe an hour ago, it was up to 64,000. So it's a significant amount of money. But I asked in this tweet, like I was initially going to ask in the tweet post, like, is this a failure of Yuga? They're one of the biggest like projects out here, and to only burn 60,000 ApeCoin in one day on a coin with like market cap of billions of dollars, I don't know if that's like, is that good? Like this is going to run for months, or, for a few weeks or maybe a month. So I can see that burn adding up and putting buy pressure on the, because it's just like a spend. But I don't know if this is going to be enough to really, a good enough sink to save ApeCoin tokenomics.
And when they say it's a burn, I mean that's people spending. But if people are earning in some way from this, they're also gonna be dumping that ape coin if they're earning ape coin. And so it's more of like, is this burn going to be significant enough? And we actually had this very conversation about Alchemica. It was like talking about burning Alchemica, and was that going to have a significant enough impact on the market? And we tried to come up with this spending competition. And so, is this some sort of kind of like a spending competition where people are essentially spending ApeCoin on this in order to maybe earn some ApeCoin or earn a prize.
From what I've heard, and I don't have a lot of information because I'm still learning. I'm in that very early stage. Um, the you use the ape coin. Ape coin almost is like glitter. Like it helps speed up stuff.
Got
That's
you.
from what I understand. Like it is a component to make like it. You're using it, I guess, for different stuff. Like if you want to speed up your crafting or take it to higher levels, the ape coin will be used for that. So it does have like
Mm.
it feels like a glitter mechanic almost, which could be very useful.
Yeah.
Like
Anything
you got
that's
to
used to
figure.
speed up.
Yeah. But this will be the test, right? This is a huge brand. They're probably going to be giving away a huge prize or like, the value of these prizes, the top, 20 or whatever. And it'll be interesting to see if gamers even care. Because I have seen some gamers talk about it on Twitter that they're going to try to stream content for this. But there's not really, it's like if I'm building my parcel, I'm out there, I could talk about what I'm doing, but there's not going to be any engaging gameplay beyond just building out a parcel.
It's going to be more of like they say a chill vibe, which would be equivalent to like just regular farming. And I don't know if that's a watchable activity unless like the streamer themselves is like doing something else, or it's an entertaining like podcast or something.
Yeah, it will get old very quick.
Yeah.
It'll get old very quick. So they've been discussing this, but the idea is this is just one game loop. So some people have compared this to like a mini game, like what we do. But it's kind of crazy because they've been working on this for like over a year with a huge budget. It looks cool. I haven't actually played it, but it doesn't seem that far advanced from what we were doing, considering we had like trying to aim for one single instance in a Gotchiverse with like 60,000 parcels, battle mechanics, all this other stuff. But I guess we have to wait and see. It's still very early.
Yeah, I also think these things take time to pan out, and we've seen all the ups and downs in the market and everything happening with assets. Uh, them launching this in a bear market is kind of brave. I think it will. I think it will actually generate the burn rate initially that they're looking at, but I also think it's not going to be sustainable for as long as they think. So, uh, and if it's not, then it might impact the price of the heavy metal assets and any other assets associated. So, we already see the bored apes like dipping. I wonder if that has anything to do with it also.
Oh shit! I just read a crazy. Sorry, I'll show you this. We talked about Only Up last week, right? The game that
Yeah.
had Goblin Town IP in it. Apparently, Steam removed it because of the stolen. They're saying the Goblin Town asset is stolen.
Oh, it wasn't planned.
Yeah, interesting.
So Goblin Town probably had to reach out and be like, "Yo, they're taking our IP essentially and just using it."
Yeah, but why, man? I would like. This is the most talked about game right now. Why would you want it to? I would put out something endorsing the hell out of them.
Yeah,
Unless you own that goblin and like you're guaranteed IP rights, which I'm not sure is how Goblin Town works.
yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that.
Yeah, so heavy metal, that's a big part of the gaming stuff for this week. There's been a lot of other crazy stuff that's happened. It's been a crazy week in crypto Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, there was some stuff going down with ETH Ben. I remember you saying, kind of his the whole blow up, right?
Yeah, he had like a complete meltdown. He got drunk on a space. He said the N word again, and then
Yo,
tripled
what's up
down
with
on it.
that token he's trying to launch? Is that a serious thing?
Wait, which one?
Like, he literally has like on his Twitter like the N word token, like a token sign.
Okay, so what he's doing is he part of his whole scheme. I'm not going to call it a scam because he hasn't rugged yet, even though it seems like he's going in that direction uh, based on what we've seen. I can't say that that's what's happening, but he um he launched like a whole bunch of projects like coins, and then he launched something called Sidex, which is like a meme coin or shit coin generator. Like you go in and you can basically launch shit coins from there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it costs 0.69 ETH to deploy the contract to deploy these coins, but apparently, like people were saying that they can't actually deploy the coin, so they're just losing money. Not to say that he's scamming, but there's been allegations that the devs are rugging it or whatever. So he has like this meme coin generator launcher. During one of his spaces, somebody either went in and launched that N-word token, or he joked about it and then tweeted about it. I don't know that it's actually been launched,
Hmm.
but he has joked about it. Today, though, went kind of crazy because somebody, the speculation is, we don't know this, but today at some point, let's see if I can find it. At some point today, Soldier Boy tweeted out a video, and we could play it here.
Yeah. Oh,
Like this. Shout out Ben Dot. Y'all know what's going on. It's your boy Soldier Boy, first to do it, man. Hey, man, I'm telling y'all like this. Shout out Ben Dot Eth, man. That's the man right there, man. Y'all already know, man. That's the man, nigga. No cap. That's my boy. Y'all here moving, shaking, doing what he doing. Y'all already know what time it is. Twitter, lock in. Big shout out to This Is Black. You feel me? Y'all already know it's a movement. All right, let's get it. Y'all know what's going on.
Yeah, so it apparently somebody paid Soldier Boy to make this video without. I don't know if he knows what has been happening with Ben.eth.
oh,
So
probably
I actually,
not.
yeah, I posted my video there that I made about that whole episode, and it's got like extra 2 or 3 thousand impressions because I was like, "Yo, Soldier Boy, I don't know if you know this, but this guy's been out here like screaming racist stuff all week. It's just a bad look, you know. It's
Oh
sad to see
man,
that out.
this has got out of hand.
He's completely imploded. Like he's been on Twitter Spaces all day and night, drunk, threatening to kill people, asking people if they kidnap people, admitting that he's put guns to people's faces, asked if anybody's been in the mafia. Apparently, last night, there's been a lot of shit happening on Twitter, but some people doxed where he's staying because he's been doing these Twitter spaces from like bars that he's at. So one night, somebody's like, you're at this bar and you're staying at this hotel. Apparently, last night he got swatted. They called in the cops on him and like fucked his whole shit up. So he's claiming that BitBoy threatened him with the cartel and threatened his kids. He's just basically had this huge meltdown. Everybody's like basically canceling him, but there is this cadre of people who are like doubling down. Like I got into a Twitter space with all of them, with Eth Ben, and I told him, I'm like, yo, bro, you got to just know that like you're dealing with a whole room of yes men, and they're cheering you on to do this stupid shit where you should have, to know better that you shouldn't be doing this, and that these aren't your friends. Because he's going through some, I guess, mental health shit. He's
But
talking about his
it's
drug.
entertainment for a lot of people, and they just kind
Yeah.
of sit there with the popcorn. And yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I've been criticizing him, but I've been on a couple spaces and have talked with him, and we've been cool, like just having conversation. But I was just stressing him, I'm like, bro, you gotta change your circle. Like these people are leading you the wrong way. You're gonna get canceled. No one's
Yeah.
gonna fuck with you, and that's what's happening. And a lot of people think he's doing this in order to rug, because if he gets canceled, if he gets deplatformed from Twitter, it'll be easy for him to say, "I didn't steal the money. I just got forced away. I couldn't do anything." So it's a mess.
Self-imposed. Yeah. Dang, dude, that's crazy, man. I mean, it was a short run too. Ben.eth has been around for a little while. Like I've seen his tweets like for a while now. Before all this, like before all the Ben coin and all that. It's just like some guy posting on Twitter on my timeline. But now it's like he has gotten himself into the spotlight. If that's what he wanted, he kind of accomplished it in his own way. Beeple has two pieces committed to his stuff. All his all the shit he's been up to. So I mean, whatever, man. I mean, I think it's his time to go. I think
Yeah.
all the N-word stuff and like being associated with that, and being drunk, all the self-destructive behavior. It's just a bad look for the space. So I mean, it's his time to go, I guess. Really.
Yeah, especially when you have people who are actually building shit and
Yeah.
this is the main focus. It's like it's just bad. Like it's really bad. But I don't think I think we're going to end up seeing a wind down of all this. Like it can't really go much further, and like it just needs to end anyway. So it'll be good for us to pivot and start talking about other stuff eventually. But it did happen, so it's unavoidable.
Hopefully, he doesn't get promoted as like the like the face of crypto. Like the media tends to, portray occasionally like psychos as like the face of crypto. I hope he doesn't get picked up by the mainstream media, because that would not be a good look for anybody, because they tend to go after specific characters to portray what this space could look like. And I bet they would eat this shit up, man. I bet if they got a hold of this story, like they knew, this is pretty down in the lower levels of crypto Twitter. I think, well, maybe not after the Beeple stuff, but like if you're not on Twitter every day, you might have missed a lot of this. You might not actually know what's going on. But like if you're on Twitter, you've seen the spaces, and like you're a news reporter or whatever, and you pick that up and publish it, like that could, it would not be a good look. Let's just say that.
Well, it's interesting because while we were in ETH Denver, there was a couple times we went in and out of the main registration building. There was a reporter there standing outside. I stopped to give him my card because I know who he is. His name is Todd Fine. Todd Fine was the guy that kind of backed up Paulie about the allegations about the Bored Ape Yacht Club. He interviewed ETH Ben. This is where all this shit happened, right? The day that he interviewed ETH Ben, Ben's Twitter account got hacked, and it like 7 people got like basically like fished and lost some assets. I covered it in a video that day, and then like an hour later, Todd Fine got on a Twitter space and interviewed Ben. And in that 4-hour interview, he talks to ETH Ben. At the beginning, Ben is sober. He's talking about this is performance art, all this other stuff. He's talking about meme coin season. I listen, I leave, I come back. When I come back, he's screaming the N word. But at some point in this fucking interview, I have a video of it on my Twitter. He convinces Todd Fine, this journalist, a gonzo journalist, to go to his meme coin site and to mint his own meme coin called Todd. And it's like, it just astounded me that like he was able to convince a journalist to potentially commit securities fraud live in front of a recorded audience, like a stage, a space. So it just this part of the timeline is nuts. So I'm surprised it hasn't actually picked up more relevance. Like none of the big like. Why isn't any of the crypto publications mentioning this? Everybody knows about it. It's been like a big thing. Some guy asking for $23 million and getting it. Like, I'm surprised we haven't heard about Paulie in the news. That
Oh,
should be a thing, you know?
I bet this is just people are letting it brew, because like this is something the media might want to cover, because what it does do is it legitimizes all like the crypto crackdown stuff that they're trying to push through the White House right now. It really kind of just like backs it up, like, hey, look at how stupid the space is. Like, trying to convince the general public that there's really nothing of substance here, and putting the right characters in place, right? You say, okay, well, you got the Pepe token, you got this Ben guy that's like creating like shit coins and just being like really like belligerent and just not really helpful to the space. I feel like those things could really just honestly just destroy the like the perception that people have already, any remaining good perception people have about this space. And so like I'm not trying to FUD by any means, because I think there's a lot of good, but I just don't think it gets put to the forefront. You never see the media talking about the new like EIP standard that just came out, and now you can do all these cool things with smart contracts. Like you'll never see that. You'll see like you'll see Ben.eth front page, hey, the face of crypto, blah blah blah. People made a piece about him, all these interesting facts. It just makes me wonder, man. Like all these things are too close together on the timeline, and I wonder if there's money behind, in the back, money being passed around to incentivize certain influencers to move the markets a certain way or shape the perception of the space a certain way.
There have been a lot of allegations of that.
Yeah. Oh, for real, you've been hearing that specifically to this, or
Yep. I've sorry, I'm eating candy, but I've been on a lot of spaces. I'm on a Twitter space probably at least once a day. Actually, I can check it. There's an app called Super Spaces. Your daily Twitter Spaces.
yeah.
You should go back to it, man. Because if you do, authorize the app. Go over here and check this out. Your old Twitter Spaces would have pulled in. You would have been ranked as a host, basically, from doing daily Twitter Spaces. So we'll look at my profile. In the last 7 days, I've been in 38 hours of Twitter Spaces. I've been a lot
Dang,
of Twitter Spaces as a listener and as a speaker. Yeah, like basically like almost every day I'm
dang,
in a Twitter
dude,
Space. Yeah,
that's real.
lots of Twitter Spaces. So I've actually gotten to know a lot of the influencers who run these spaces because they let me, they've been letting me up to speak. They
Hmm.
followed me, I followed them, and almost all of them have been accused. Like Borovic is one of the biggest ones. He's been accused of taking money from Ben. Fitty .eth has been accused of taking money from Ben. Zero Cool .eth has been accused of taking money from Ben. Like basically anybody who's allowed Ben to get up and speak, the accusations are that they've been like pumping for Ben. Like Borovic's a good example. I've been in a lot of the Twitter spaces. He allowed Ben to come up. He sent $100 to a pre-sale. He kept telling everybody, "Don't send what you can't afford to send. I'm doing it just because it seems like it could be a cool idea. We're not telling you to send it." But people got pissed and said, "Yo, you gave this guy a platform." So now that Ben is like kind of melting down and become kind of racist, all the people that were associated with him are also getting burned. And then Twitter went so far as to like, I guess, like remove the orange badge as a platform. So, as a affiliate organization on Twitter. So that whole market got wrecked. It's been, I mean, there's a lot of shit happening in the background that, just looks weird.
Do you think these are all like social credit hits, like trying to take out people's reputability?
I don't think it's that so much. I think there's just a level of, there's idealism sometimes in the space. Like when Ben came out, I instantly was like, fuck this guy. I don't trust it. I'm not calling him a scammer, but this doesn't smell right. And we need to stop people from getting into stuff like that. While other people were like, give him the benefit of the doubt, which I guess if you're more idealistic, you want to like, it's almost like Mycalium, right? Like when we talk about the Gotchi Vault, and Mycalium doesn't want to see that evil side. He, not to knock him or anything, but he wants to think of like, he wants to give people the benefit of the doubt, think that they have good intentions. Where I grew up in a crazy ass situation where I just
You got to
instantly am on
protect
guard all
yourself,
the time.
man.
Yeah. So I have like spidey sense for that shit. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of times people who are idealistic or more naive or are like, oh, let's let them try, it's like, nah, man, the bullshit meter's going off the charts. We got to call this guy out now. So I'm
Everybody
happy I
starts with let him try, man. I think a lot
yeah.
of people start with let him try, whether they were like 5 years old or they learn at some point that let him try is not worth your time or your effort or really your like go with your gut feeling, man. If you have a bad feeling about somebody, they probably are up to something. I mean,
Well, also,
not to say be like overly suspicious, but like there are signs, right? When somebody is exhibiting certain behaviors, those behaviors can get repeated across different things. So, I mean, you see it in
yeah.
dating, honestly. You see it with like, dating from one woman to another. You see those certain signs, man. You get it after a while. You're like, all right, this one has a little too much crazy for me. For me
Yeah.
personally, you know, everybody has their levels, but
Risk top levels, right?
exactly.
Actually, give me 1 second because my girlfriend's about to leave to go to work. So I just want to kiss her
Okay.
goodbye.
I saw that German Shepherd walking around there.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to everybody watching with us here. I see Soju, and I see Transistor, and I see Choina. Welcome, friends. Transistor
Talk about,
has
yeah.
a real quick. I just want to give Transistor a shout out because he has like the. I think that's the whole Forger set with double hammers, which is crazy.
And the gentleman's hat, which is a nice add to it.
Yeah, I love that hat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just thinking we were talking about like letting people experiment, right? And Reset, good old friend Reset, jumped back into the DAO discussion today and started talking about the auto battler proposal. And I didn't get to read everything. I'm gonna go back and read it now. But he's basically he put up some messages that got deleted. But he was saying that he listed 3 auto battlers, and that the 3 auto battlers all are like comparable or better than what he thinks the Gotchi auto battler looks like, and that they could be done, that they were done for far less. So he's questioning the budget itself of this auto battler.
That's funny because I was also questioning if you look in the DAO forum, like the main DAO forum, not the Discord one. I actually did some of the early questions I had for Mark, who's creating the game, were actually these questions. And so I think it's a little bit rich, if you ask me. Uh, Not to say that's a bad idea. I think it's the auto battler thing with maybe being some sort of rarity farming, kind of a Dookie Dash vibe with prizes you can win. I think that's a great idea. But like the amount of money being asked here, I feel like is a little high. But at the same time, I did comment on this at the last DAO meeting. I like to have a weighed approach to this. And it's like, yeah, it is a little rich, but look at who's building the game. It's all of our own Agachi community members that have already provided really, in my opinion, really great value in our ecosystem. So, yes, it is a little bit subjective to be like, yeah, because they're our own people, we want to make sure we pay them well and make them feel appreciated because they've already done so much. But from a business standpoint, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. From like a pure business standpoint, if you brought someone in to build this game out, they would say it's a little bit too much. And I'm being honest.
Reading it now, your comment specifically and his replies. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like the idea of strengthening the game lineup for Gachi Chain. I don't think it actually increases demand for protocol assets because you can just rent them. Gamifying protocol rewards. 2.5 years ago, dressing up your gacha wearables and competing in the RF leaderboard was revolutionary. Myself and many other OG gacha gangs spent hundreds of hours collecting and optimizing wearable sets and gachis to ladder up the leaderboard as far as possible. Now, though, as other Web3 projects catch up to us, we have to continue to innovate and start allocating some protocol rewards to new experimental competitions that drive more engagement. Gachi Battler can be the perfect addition for this in the form of a new rarity farming category. Continues the meta of BRS rarity farming, more BRS, more rewards, but also introduces new edges to be gained from strategizing while still having a very simple setup to accommodate more passive investors. I don't know. I don't think, like, we talk about innovating, but innovating isn't creating a game that already exists. Like, auto battlers are well known. Like, I don't know if that's an innovation. Maybe the blockchain elements of it are, but is it going to be fun enough to bring in new people, or is it just going to be another, like, rarity farming brings in people because they're rewards. It doesn't bring in people. Nobody plays rarity farming because it's fun.
No.
We used to do events. If you told me you did rarity farming because it was fun back in the day, maybe I get that, because we held a Discord party. This week we didn't have a Discord party. It's not fun. It's just I literally don't even care about rarity farming anymore. I probably got rewards for my 6 gachis. I'm not even going to withdraw them. I'm just going to leave them in the gachi because they're in Orium and being rented out to scholars to just play and have fun. Rarity farming is not the big drive here unless you're like trying to get that return on your investment. If the return on your investment in this case is fun gameplay, I don't give a fuck about rarity farming.
Yeah.
Auto battler is not really
100%.
going to do much for me either. I'd rather see, I mean, I'm not going to knock it. I'm still, for the price that they're asking, it's not a lot. But there is this point, and this is a hot take, but I'm getting fucking tired of just funding the same people over and over again. It's literally like a closed circuit of like 5 people who request funding and get it, like consistently. People who constantly get more and more and more funding, and while everybody else is told no. It's annoying because I haven't really, like, I don't think the spending competitions have brought any value to our ecosystem. It just was a rebate for certain players, and it sped up the emissions of Alchemica like everybody called. Like, is this becoming, like, we talk about, and I'm not saying that Mark is doing this. I actually like Mark. I think he's actually a good person, and he cares about the Gachi gang and the game. But Mark has also been part of multiple funded core props. He was part of the Glitter and Alchemica task force. He got paid for a month to do that. Basically, he made a decent living off of that for a month. He got paid to do the competitions. We've done 2 already. He's also done other work for the Gachi board. He's done other like Dune stuff, if I'm not mistaken. And now this is becoming his full-time job. And I respect that if he's delivering, which he has delivered this stuff. But the question is what he's delivering worth what we're paying? Yes. That has to be a real question. If you're going to question me, if the few $1,000s I asked to build a live streaming studio to stream shit every week and say that's not worth it, and then I'm asked to stream stuff, then I don't understand how this has, this is like fucking 100 times the fucking like 50 times the ask.
Is a huge
I don't know where the value is.
Yeah. And I feel like it's unnecessary and risky as a business if the DAO was looking at this as an investment to put up that much money right up front. I would have loved to give 1/3 of what he's asking to get maybe 50% less of what he's offering. Like I would love to get a more stripped down basic version of what he wants to build. Give us a demo. Give us like one level. Give us anything so I can actually use my gotchi in there and be like, yo, this guy has his shit together. He's going to deliver a game that I'm going to like because I've seen like 1% of it or 5% of it already, and I have a good feeling about what he has to bring to the table. Asking for all that money up front to build out the full version and then being like, well, we built it here, now here, go play because you'll like it, I think is unreasonable. And like, there's no game that's ever built like that. You always start with a smaller scale, like a beta. You know, let people beta test it. There's like a whole process to it. And you know, as a DAO, funding it and being like more of a community funded system, because everybody in the assets actually paid into that pool. I feel like there needs to be more of a say around those things because, like, you know, putting up all that money up front is really risky from a business point perspective for a DAO.
Yeah, like I would rather fund music parkour. It's not a
Yeah,
rarity farm mechanic. It's not revolutionary. You know, I mean, at this point, also, the DAO can fund whatever. We have a treasury. It's not really being used. Most ideas get shot down. I think we're going to go through a summer lull where we're not going to get a ton of. I mean, there's going to be stuff that comes out. People are going to request money to do different big projects, but I feel like if you know if there's a revenue generation for the DAO, excellent. That's great. If there's a value creation for the DAO, excellent. I guess you know it's at a core prop now. It's probably going to pass. There's enough power behind it to get it to pass. So we'll see what happens. I know the timeline's a couple months to run the whole thing to get it up and running. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see how the community reacts to, you know, if Mark gets this funding and goes and pushes it and gets it done and it works, how they react towards you know, like community driven like endeavors and what's it called, experiences. Right now no one's really pushing the gotchi farming because they keep delivering. They're doing really well. The forge has gotten some pushback because people were like dissatisfied with the initial release. I don't really know how people feel right now. It seems like everything's going okay. So this would be the first real major like investment from the DAO that we'll be able to see, like kind of like hopefully it works and it actually adds value in a sense. We're still waiting for on-chain guilds also from Yannick. He says he's going to give an update soonish. So we'll have to see is if this money is worth it.
yeah, because we spent a significant amount of money at this point. In my opinion, I don't think the Forge team needs any more funding. I think we're now at a point where I would rather give the Forge team money for like marketing and say, here's 10,000 ghosts to go promote your product because nobody really knows about it or how it works. And we actually need to get more onboarding there. We need to see more action. We need to see people using it essentially besides the people that made the Forge. Like I don't think the statistics at this point support another round of funding after what they've already got for
No, heck
now.
no. No, 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 no. It's not a game. It's like
Yeah.
it's a mechanic in the game. That's cool, but I wouldn't put any more money
Yeah.
towards that. Like I don't see unless they develop something that adds value. Like, yes, you could say that people are smelting, but I don't really know how many people are doing that. And we're gonna potentially give some rarity farming to the smelters. The smelters all are the same people. There's like a handful of people who actually do any of that at this point. You know, we are like I just feel like there's like I don't know. The whales are accumulating all the assets. It's like I feel like they're like Dr. Wagme, good point. Like he jumped to number 1 on XP. He jumped to the first place on XP because he murdered 12 gotchis before the snapshot. At this point, it's not that expensive to do that. Like depending on how
Yeah.
like if they're all floor gotchis, it's like 200 300 ghosts for floor gotchis at this point. So it's just becoming like it's becoming more of a whales game. Like if we're
Yeah.
doing smithing rewards, that is more for like that's gonna there's gonna be only a certain group of people who are gonna be benefited by that, and there's overlap with those people are the same people who are also benefited from um, rarity farming for BRS and kinship at this point.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I wouldn't. I need to see more from. I'm not knocking the forge. I'm not knocking the forge. I want to see more. I want to see the actual value that was brought to it versus what I'm being told is value.
I've been reading a lot about this thing called the Pareto principle. And the Pareto principle is like the 80-20 rule basically. Is like 20% of the things or 20% of the people will own 80% of the stuff. You know, you could apply the statistic across to various things, but like this kind of reminds me of that where like 20% of the people might own 80% of the assets here in the end.
Yeah, it's moving towards that, and I was thinking, I was like, damn, is that bad? Like, because it's like the more people sell off, the smaller the community gets, the more concentrated the power gets. But I think like it's good seeing stuff like the sandbox experience because I feel like people become more aware of what we're doing, and it is a bear market, so we just got to ride it out. But I just want to see I want to see our community like kind of blossom a little bit more and
Yeah.
be controlled by more than just a handful of people because it feels like it's just a handful of people.
It feels very kind of small right now, and the community vibes are still there between our little subgroups that we have. Like everyone seems to have broken off and done their own thing. We got our group over here, we got like the gachi farmy, we got all these little pockets that have formed around avagachi, but everything feels somewhat disconnected right now. And I think that partly has to do with the assets being pulled up in a small number of people. uh, yeah, I mean, I think we really need to get people on Polygon to be like, yo, there needs to be a campaign. There needs to be a campaign that's like, yo, if you are on Polygon and you do not own an Avagachi, what are you doing? You do not own a crypto pet. You're on Polygon. Like, get on it. Start petting this thing, start dressing it up, start doing all these things. Um, I don't know, man. It just feels right. It just feels like you need to have one.
I kind of feel the opposite. This will be my hot
Okay.
take.
Okay.
And Gotcha Gang, I love you, you know that. But I feel like we're too pretentious. Like we go into
Yeah.
spaces and we're the OGs. We've been here 2 years. None of these PFP, degens give a fuck about any of
They
that.
don't care.
And I
Yeah.
feel like us acting like we're superior because I see this happen in our community a lot. Like we're the giga brains and we think we're better than other people because we've been building and doing this shit for 2-3 years. That's holding us back. Like that's not a friendly environment.
Yeah.
I was in a Twitter space, a Polygon. I think it was called. I forgot the name of it. It was one with this guy General who has one of those Solana Monkey SMB collections. But
Yeah.
they're talking Polygon and all this stuff. And I got up and I started telling them how much I love Polygon. I'm out there buying NFTs every day. They knew I was Gotchi, but I didn't really talk about
Yeah.
Avagachi and why we're OG and why they need to own one. I was just like, yo, we've been out here for a minute. We see what all of you are doing, and we're all, we're interested in what you are doing. I no longer try to sell people
Yeah.
Gotchi. They see Gotchi every time. It's the same thing I did. I've taken the approach that's like when I was a dog walker. When I walk dogs, I'd meet people in the neighborhood who own dogs, and I would never tell them I was a dog walker. I wouldn't try to pick them up as clients. I would wait. And after some time, we got to know each other. They eventually, somehow, naturally, organically in the conversation, it would come out like, "Oh, I don't actually own this dog. I'm just the walker." 9 out of 10 times, that person became my client eventually because I didn't force the agenda on them. So it's happening now. Like I had
Hmm.
Borovic call out that I was his favorite Avagachi. I have not really shilled Avagachi.
Yeah.
I've shilled our DAO because we're in relevant DAO discussions. But I think we have to, especially on Polygon, we got to take the I'm the big brother approach and scrap it. That's
Yeah.
not what we need. We're not better than other people. The main account should be engaging with everybody else on Polygon.
I agree with
Yeah,
that 100%.
because we're not all the other communities that are fucking rocking it right now on Polygon are super active on Twitter. Drill Club is active on Twitter. Wreck Dog Gang is active on Twitter. Wreck Gang also is active on Twitter. All of these people have developed what we had and they're pushing it. We're not really showing that anymore, and we're acting like we're better than everybody else because we
Mm.
have this DeFi, gaming protocol kingdom that we love. But when you act like a cult and you act like you're better than everybody else, you start alienating everybody else. And I don't think that's what we want, and that's what we should be doing. But that's just my hot take.
Mm. No, I,
Yeah.
I, I somewhat agree in the sense that, at the same time, I will say during the bull market, it does feel like every NFT project was beating their old drum. So I could see why Avagachi went with that way, the way we kind of portrayed ourselves through that time. But now everything has quieted down. Definitely, I think there's far fewer like successful NFT projects now, and the ones that do, I think there does need to be an effort to recognize them and make sure that we're seeing their community and being part of their community and having them eventually, like you say, naturally, maybe do some of their own research or come hang out in the Discord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Choina has a
Remember,
question here.
yeah.
Says, do most of the PFP degens really care about the project and community, or are they just under the guise of community and building just to pump their bags for a better and faster flip?
I think it depends. I like because we're looking at this like like you said, we're not in a bull market anymore. So new entrants coming in, this is a shit market. Like you're
Yeah.
probably gonna get stuck with a bag. So it's a little bit of both, I think. The other thing I'd say is that our position in the ecosystem is important because we're OGs, but the social layer of Polygon NFTs has just started. Like literally, we saw it when Avagachi first started doing the Twitter Spaces, the official account hosting the Twitter Spaces, when they started talking to these other Polygon projects. And then that was when a lot of projects were moving from Solana and from other chains to Polygon. Now we have Polygon, PFP marketplaces that are springing up. So it's like the social birth of Polygon on social media has started like less than 6 months ago, really, like where it's like people are talking about it now. We're getting a lot of volume for these NFTs. So I think that's what matters because these people have no reference point for history. It's like one of the 48 laws of power, right? One of the worst things you can do is remind somebody of the favors you've done for them. Like if I lend you $100,
Yeah.
Hefe, then I could come to you later and be like, "Yo, remember that time I lent you $100?" That pressure
Yeah.
putting on you, everybody universally hates that shit.
Yeah,
So it's like
it becomes
feels
so
almost like that.
transactional. It's like, oh, we weren't just friends, just kind of helping each other out. It
Yeah.
becomes a
So by telling
transactional thing.
Polygon, yeah. So by telling everybody like, yo, you're Polygon, you need a Avagachi, it makes
Yeah,
it kind of like that, right? Like, yo,
I
you
see
owe
that.
us. We built everything here. It comes off as pretentious, and not everybody's gonna think that. I just think we could take a more engaging and humbled approach,
Hmm.
and it would be easier. And like once again, this isn't the leadership. I don't think it's the Gotchi team that does that. But I feel like the community does that somewhat. Like we're a little full of ourselves sometimes in that regard.
Definitely fair points. Yeah, I agree. With a lot of that, and the way we presented ourselves at Eat Denver was actually not like that. Like we were pretty open. We were interacting with people. I think we showed some of the best vibes at Gotcha Gang at Eat Denver. I think the way we carried ourselves and hung out with people and asked other people about what they were up to, I think that is like the essence of like the Gotcha Gang vibe. I don't think like and it goes back to the previous point you said. Like our community activity has shrunk down a bit, so it does seem like the louder or the more active voices sometimes can be still very like about the bag, right? About Avagachi, and it's all about Avagachi. But fake gotchis is a great example of how we might be able to actually use that to our advantage to kind of actually bring art into the mix, because I think one place where a lot of NFT projects could benefit is collaborating through different kinds of art. Like I'd love to have like a Rec Dog slash Avagachi piece. Even though I don't own a Rec Dog, I think that's kind of cool. And if they have art platforms, I think we should be going there and be like, hey, let us publish with you guys. I think the art publishing thing could become a real big deal if we get like wider adoption across the space.
Yeah, it's important. Like there's a we mentioned Azuki, and I'm not going to get into the full thing. We can talk about that in a little bit, but they're talking about the power of their IP. They think they can disrupt the anime industry with Web3 content and like the IP. So they're like this push. It seems like I've read a lot of places like more companies. The sustainable push is to work on infrastructure and building out your IP and like making your IP valuable and earning off of it versus trying to add utility to NFTs that like launching tokens or games or experiences because now like people are kind of burnt out on that.
Yeah, it's like something. Are you kind of saying that there needs to be something more, or are you saying more to go after the public, kind of like the mainstream appeal approach?
Wait, say that one more time. I got confused there.
Are you talking about they're going like these projects are going for more a mainstream approach where it's like less crypto, less about NFTs, or is it more about expanding what they already have into NFT games and that sort of thing?
Well, it seems like they're going towards more mainstream, like Pudgy Penguins, good
Yeah.
example. They launched their toy brand. The toy brand is sold on Amazon. A lot of people own it. There's another one, MFers, motherfuckers,
Yeah.
that stupid Sartoshi thing. They license the MFer to be a flag, like a lawn flag at Lowe's. It's the number one selling lawn flag at Lowe's right now. Like those kind of moves.
Dang.
Um, yeah, Cool Cats, like potentially creating an animated series. There's like a whole bunch of situations where we can get the IP into the world, because the thing is, like with Cool Cats as an example, the IP is strong, it's cute, it could be, you could see this being a successful children's brand, but you're not going to be able to market it to children as an NFT. You're going to be able to market it as, you know, a show, and they might not know that maybe my Cool Cat's in that show and that Cool Cats had to license it through me, and I get a part of royalties. There are certain companies, I think Pudgy Penguins did that, where if your penguin made it into the cut of the toy, you get a royalty from the sales of the toy. Stuff like that is important. Like right now, like even we're looking at Only Up, like getting removed from Steam because it's an NFT game. Apparently, that's, you know, I don't think you can add utility to the NFTs, but almost it's easier almost, or like just another vertical to try to expand your IP and monetize it.
And it gets people into the public eye. I mean, that's a whole group of people that haven't been activated yet, and so like getting them interested in your brand or like your design or your characters is like a good place to start.
Yeah, that's what you want. Like you want people, like we want people to play Avagachi the game, right? We want them to play Gachi Guardians, but I want people to see Gachi and be like, "That's dope. I want to look
Yes.
into that more." And they can find out about all the crazy stuff we're doing with the technology at the end of the loop. But at the very beginning, it has to be something that's easy and digestible. Me and you have both, as guys who have created onboarding content here, know the challenge of like just making it simple so that people don't have to think and they can just come in. You almost want them to hit their more base um mentalities, you know, like they don't want, like, you want to be able to be like, oh, I like this because it's colorful, it's visual, this appeals to me in some way, versus me having to write down, like, you know, my dissertation for my PhD in DeFi, you know, decentralized
They don't
finance.
they don't want to know
Like,
about that.
yeah,
I always think about the guy at Costco. You remember him? We were
yeah,
at ETH. We were in Denver. We were grocery shopping a little bit for the Gachi Lodge, making sure we had enough goods for everybody coming through that we're hosting. And we were walking through, and we saw like a guy selling samples, or he was selling smoker pellets. He was like selling. He was like a salesman, sales rep, and he stopped us, and he was like, "Hey, that's a cool sweater," because I think you were wearing the sweater. A zombie shepherd was wearing the sweater, and it was like, "Yo, what is that?" And we got into Avagachi, which led to Tamagotchi, and I'll never forget what he said at the end. He was like, "I like games, I like money, I'm in." That was his whole. That was his whole thing. Like his summary of what we explained to him was like, "I like games, I like money, I'm in." You know.
yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find the actual
Yeah, it might be
post.
some of the one of the earlier posts there.
One of the first ones, yeah. Oh man, I worry that that's never going to happen again.
That's rough, man. Like the amount of support we had to rally this time, and like I honestly don't feel like it's in me. Like I feel like I didn't feel really great about the experience at the end. I felt kind of, I felt great about what we delivered and what we did, but I didn't feel appreciated or recognized in the way that I thought I would. And I wasn't expecting that either, but it was kind of like, man, it would have been kind of nice to not have people complain about things that didn't really matter. We accomplished our mission there. So
Yeah, I feel that. Like I mean, this is the third time I felt like this. The first two times it was like it was different because I was volunteering, I was trying to be helpful. The third time it's like almost like, hey man, like let's make this happen. And it's like, oh man, I know these people, they don't give a fuck. Like and I've gone onto Twitter spaces and like talked about this, like how hard it is. Like, yeah, I've been making content for like almost 2 years leading up to that. Like there are a lot of us who were just making content because we love the project. Some of us were
yeah,
ambassadors, but others weren't. And they lit like Contact is not a fucking ambassador. Smoke Screens is not an ambassador. These guys have never been compensated in any way, shape, or form to actually come out and flex or help for Gotcha Gang. So to see them come out and help, and then people kind of shit on them. Well, that's their choice. They should have come out and just known. It's like, no, man, that's not how we do
that's
it,
not
man.
how it
If
works.
like if we like this effort and the love that we put into that effort, people saw that. Like people saw that. I finally this week I've gotten followed by some big accounts. Dubsy followed me. He actually called out Gotcha Gang when I was like, hey friend, and then he followed me. Ashley Decan She followed me. We saw her plenty of times. I don't know if you know who she is, but we walked by her multiple times at Eve Denver while she was shooting videos. And now I was like, yo, I saw you. We were doing the same shit. We were the Abagachi
Yeah.
team with the shirts. Everybody knows that
Mm-hmm.
sweater from Eve Denver if they were there. So I think we did such great things. And like, we're seeing the fruits of it now. We have the Thank Abagachi initiative that came out of the Ethereum Denver. Like,
Yeah.
I know there were some connections prior to that with GMI and I think Sanad and the other Daniel, but that's something that came out of it. Ovix unfortunately came out of that, but that's more of a Gachi Vault thing.
Yeah.
There are other partnerships that are going to come out of this that we're going to see and continue to see over the next few months, and it's hard to go out to a conference and then come back and feel like, oh man, my effort was worthless. It's just bullshit. It doesn't incentivize me to want to work hard.
Yeah, it's like what Choina's saying here. Awesome event which had us all come away with a huge high, but unfortunately a bit of a sour aftertaste.
Yeah, so I would love to see us do another thing, but I just don't know if that's going to be, I don't know if the DAO is going to allow for it. I think something like this could happen down the line once we eventually get to the place of like what the Ape DAO is kind of doing, which is ApeCoin DAO, which we've kind of already done the DTF / they have working groups, people working on specific things.
Yeah.
So once we get there and we have working groups or we have a DTF, then maybe, but even a DTF, like, going to a DTF and asking for $30,000, I don't know if that's a smart idea. There should be a separate thing for it altogether. But once again, what's the value? Like, we could, go to and make connections. Like, this is my thing. Like, we want to find people to make gaming experiences for us. I've seen little to no, I mean, other than Pixelcraft, they've done it very well because they're actually talking to teams and doing stuff like that. I haven't seen the DAO really push for anything. I've been pushing real Jonah Blake, who's like trying to get $20 million from the Ape DAO Council because he's like a game developer. He has a background in gaming and he wants to make a gaming publishing company. Yesterday, I've been tagging him and like, because we follow each other now. I'm like, bro, come to Avagachi DAO. We don't have a bag like that, but I showed him. I was like, we just passed a SIG prop to give somebody like $160,000 to make an auto battler. If you have good ideas, come this way. The DAO isn't really doing that, and unless like it should like. It's cool that we have members of the DAO who are willing to go out there and do that. But if I drop dead tomorrow, does that mean that the onboarding and the partnership aspects of this is just going to die? Like the DAO has to step up and make some of that a reality.
The torch, right? Can't just be one
the
person.
DAO needs to do more. Yeah, the DAO needs to do more because the thing is, we have to be equal partners, I think, to the success of Abagachi, like Pixelcraft. It means that we have to step up and do some stuff.
It almost seems like the DAO right now doesn't want that for one reason or another, whether it's focus on rewards or more reliance on Pixelcraft, that they're going to be the ones to make it. We'll kind of follow along and pick up the breadcrumbs along the way. There just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of activity towards building things out in the DAO that are real meaningful, like really, like you can see, like you say, the love coming through. Like the effort that we put into ETH Denver, I would love to see that put into a game. Like see that amount of love where like someone is able to tell a whole story through a game and you come away with an experience being like, holy shit, that was a really fun level. It was only one level, but it was a really fun level, And now I want 20,000 ghosts or whatever.
Yeah. And I'll say it, man, like you're talking about the love that we put into this. You know this. The people at ETH Denver know this, but most people don't know this. I was like trying to be the media director. During ETH Denver, I encouraged the team. Smoke Screens did a great job of this to record as much content as possible because I wanted to put together a Gachi Lodge 2023 documentary after the fact. We have tons of footage that we can do that with.
We were so stoked about it.
Yeah, after the DAO started doing its thing, I was like, I don't want anything to do with this shit. Like, it just was like I wanted to deliver that as a secret. That was the whole plan. We're gonna deliver everything we can. We're gonna show you that we did all this shit, and we're gonna drop a documentary that was over and beyond. No one asked for this, but the Gachi Gang experience, something that's maybe 30 or 40 minutes. We have a lot of footage of us talking. We could shoot interviews now to kind of retrospective and add it all together. That's a lot of work, and I wanted to do that. But after the fact, I was like, nah, man, this is too much. Like, come on, man. It's so annoying. Like,
I'm glad you mentioned that, man, because honestly, we actually only published like maybe 10 to 15% of all the media that we actually covered during that time. The whole idea was to have this secret media that we would publish into a documentary. And I mean, we have it archived. So if there was ever that passion for us to do that, from the DAO side of things, then maybe that could still be a possibility. But like, this was not like what you're trying to say here is that was not meant to be a transactional thing. That was purely like a non-transactional love for the Gachi gang. We put together this really special experience for you guys to watch. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that distaste for like the IRL representation, I don't really understand that. Like Pixelcraft is doing a good job. Like I know they got Lost Local at the forefront of that, making appearances at all these different events. My vision when we first did ETH Denver was to get people so excited that everybody would be excited about us, you and I and McCallum and some of the more the core community going out and being like the DAO representatives for Avagachi, and maybe working together with Jason and trying to set things up. I know you did that a few times. With their help, they helped you get over there and do that. But it'd be nice to see the DAO kind of pick up the slack there and actually be a part of that, because I think that is important.
Yeah, and I'll say like the two times I did it where I worked with like Pixelcraft, they like it was stressful because we were still learning, but I was treated well. That's what I felt
Yeah.
like. Jesse showed appreciation after the fact. We had calls where we talked about what happened and how we can do things better. No one blamed me. No one was like nasty or kind of telling me I didn't bring value. It was like understand that we're growing and learning because we're not doing this like normal companies and businesses do this. So I appreciated that because also Lost Local, the first event, he wasn't the in real life guy yet. It didn't happen until after NFT NYC during the summer, and he's been killing it. Art Basel was just like we had a lot going on for just 24 hours, and we did well with that. But like this time was just like it felt like I got insulted. Like with
Yeah.
Pixelcraft at the helm, it didn't feel like I was getting insulted. It just felt like we just didn't have enough resources to do it. This time we had enough resources, and people are like, "Well, you guys you mismanaged this," and it's like, "Oh man, like
Yeah.
you can't like opportunity when opportunity presents itself, you have to grab it." Like
Yep.
going over budget was because we only went over budget because we want to compensate additional people. Costs were much higher than what we expected.
Yeah.
This wasn't like we're being greedy. Like so, it's like it just $20,000 to Anadas. What the fuck is happening with that? We could have went to New York and taken over NFT NYC with that money. I was there. We
We
could have
just
taken
threw
over that.
that money away, which comes to show like that was a really telling proposal for me. You know,
Yeah, we never did a discussion in a DAO call about the Anadas, did we?
no, not even one really. It was kind of like when the proposal was up already. The 3-day sig prop. But those are some of the issues in DAOs, right? That's why we got whitelisted addresses now. So not anybody can just come in and start posting about asking money for anadas. Like it's gotta be coming from a known whitelisted address now. There has to be. I don't think you can have complete anonymity in DAOs. Like you have to be responsible for the decisions you're putting out there. Like if you want to present a 20,000 USD proposal to buy NFTs, we should know who that is, right?
Yeah. Also, I will say, because Choin is here, shout out to the directors. Today was the first time, today or yesterday, that rarity farming rewards were directed out of our foundation treasury to, I guess, the contract or wherever it goes to send out to all of the, people who actually got rewards this season or this round. So that's cool. I think about like, did we just like, illegally distribute, securities, whatever, because it is a stimmy in a sense, but whatever, we roll with it.
We roll with it. Our directors are pretty solid, so
Yeah.
uh, I think that's a very independent move for our DAO, and it's a step in the right direction. Like we've had uh, kind of some uncertainty, right, with where the DAO lies, but now it's like, all right, this is a step in the right direction. We're decentralizing, we're making our own decisions, we're distributing our own funds. It seems like we no longer need the diaper. We can get away with it. We can start to just we know what we need to do now. So at least in that aspect of it, right?
Yeah. Just looking at the floor prices, I haven't really looked at wearables in a while. Yeah, they're holding up. It's not bad.
Oh dang! I just realized it's 5:25. We could just keep going on and on, man. I mean, I think
Right.
what we're trying to shift to, and we eventually will, is to a 1 hour segment. So we're going to be doing a 1 hour segment instead, trying to cover as much as we can there, and then we'll do the syncopator the second hour. For today, I don't even know if we're having a syncopator today. I got to reach out to my Callum and actually sync up with him on that, and come up with our sort of agenda. But I'm okay. Like, we're in a bear market. The builders are building. I did want to touch on one thing real quick. Shout out to, oh God, I can't remember. I think it's Slick who put this out there, but the Unity Play Avagachi kit. So if you want to build things on Unity, you can do that now through this Avagachi kit. And so he has, I believe it's everything you need. It's like the GitHub repo and kind of the how-to and everything right here. So this is a good way to get into starting to build an Avagachi. Check out the GitHub. There's a wearable browser, Gachi browser. There's a testnet thing set up there. So if you are a dev,
Right.
this is something you might want to look into, especially since we got the Voltron hackathon going on right now. So this is run by the ThriveCoin team or the tab, and we'll see. We'll see what comes out of this. I'm curious now to see if we have any games or experiences that come out of it.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to see some cool stuff. I think. I don't know how long the hackathon goes. Right now, it's in the ideation portion of it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's officially launched. So this is kind of in preparation to that to give you a framework anyway.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
But yeah, so I wanted to shout that out, and yeah, so there's that, and then the second thing here before we kind of wrap up that I didn't really get to touch on is Polygon and their plans. Their plans to merge the POS testnet into ZK EVM, and I'm curious to know what your take is on that now, because that was the whole Polygon 2. Remember, we saw those for about a week. There was this subtle marketing thing going on, Polygon 2.0 or Polygon 2, whatever.
Mhm.
So apparently that is a POS chain now transitioning to the ZK EVM chain, becoming one basically.
So eventually, Polygon's going to just be completely ZK EVM.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I mean, I'm cool with that. My Callium helped me onboard to ZK EVM last week or the week before, so I went into ZK EVM. Quick swap. I did a single swap. I went and bought something off of one of the NFT marketplaces. I think I got a ZK EVM Punk or something like that. I paid 1.5% of Ethereum. It's it seems the same. Your gas isn't ETH, but it's pretty cheap. So I mean, that wouldn't bother me. The only thing that will be kind of annoying is having to bridge everything over. If you have to, you're probably going to have to. And there's not a ton of tools on there right now. So
Yeah.
it's good if everything bridges over and we have the same experience. But with ZK EVM, I don't do much DeFi. I'm probably not going to do any, especially after OVIX, because that was on ZK EVM, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. So I would wait until it kind of builds out a little more. But it's exciting because it is ZK EVM, you're paying gas and ETH. For some reason, I feel like that's going to be an easier jump for ETH maxis versus going to Polygon, like the
Yeah.
POS.
I think even branding wise, it's a little bit different. It's like, okay, you're now positioning yourself closer to an Optimism or Arbitrum in as opposed to being like a Solana or a Polkadot. You know what I mean? You're not trying to be like the next big chain. You're just your infrastructure. You're part of the ecosystem, helping ETH scale indirectly.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I'm trying to put up my good night tweet. Got to do that every night.
Yeah, Vitalik is a huge fan of the ZK, right? So I mean, I think hopefully this gets some love from Vitalik also.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Just bringing that attention over to what's happening on the purple wave side of things.
So it does look like they'll allow for staking. Staking will secure multiple chains now. You'll secure the POS and the ZK EVM simultaneously.
So they're merging testnet first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Yeah,
we
I gotta
also
talk to
see,
her now. You're gonna have to move everything.
yeah. And then we also see Pancake Swap launching on ZKEVM as well. So we get some new
Uh,
players coming to the system.
yeah, some players that have been out there for a while too.
Yeah.
Feel a little bit more secure with that. That'd be pretty good.
Do you think Avagachi has anything to do with this? Do you think there'll be some ZKEVM based experience built by Avagachi?
Yeah, I can imagine that. Like I mean, eventually they're gonna have to move some ghost into like a quick swap pair on DKEVM, right?
That's when you'll know things
Yeah.
are happening.
It'd be nice to be able to like I don't know if we can get Glitter and Alchemica and Ghost over on ZKEVM yet, or if there's any DeFi services that will like earn us a yield. It would be very smart. I mean, we don't. I mean, we would have to do it for Glitter because we don't do it for tickets anymore. But like some kind of staking reward for going and doing Ghost USDC pairing on ZKEVM, similar to the Uniswap liquidity farms that we entered into at the beginning when they first launched, and it was paying like something like 200%
yeah.
interest. Yeah, that dropped very quickly.
The
But yeah,
APYs would be nice while they last.
yeah. Oops, somebody got hacked. Another account.
One more thing, real quick here before we wrap up for tonight. I want to give a shout out to Soju. Soju has officially put his 2 pieces in the queue. So 2 new pieces in the queue. One is Thick Gachi. I love that Thick Gachi animated piece. And then the other one is this one here, Raffletopia. This is like his crown jewel right now. This is like the hottest Soju piece right now. He put a lot of work into this, and I believe there's gonna be some going up for auction. 21 of these going up for auction.
Wait, which one are you talking about? Because I see, oh, Raffletopia Fake Genesis. Yes.
Raffletopia, Fake Genesis, and then you got the thick Gachi.
Are these Raffles all like sexless, or are they like male and female?
Let's have a look here.
Also, is this Thick Gachi sexless? Got some cheeks.
No, man, I assume it's thick, man. It's got some real cheeks, that's for sure.
I'll give you some alpha before we get offline. I'm like vain as hell. I was hanging out with my girlfriend today. A few months ago, I became obsessed with having my biceps and my calves be the same size. That's like a thing. So I had her measure my biceps today and then my calves. They're both 15 inches. So it's like even. And I'm so happy for that. But then, she's a woman. She's like, I want to measure my ass. So her ass is 44 inches, which I'm very appreciative for.
Yes.
So we measured my ass, and my ass, like going around, like same measurement is 44 inches. So we're joking that like we're kind of in a race to see who has the bigger ass soon. But mine is like mostly from like hip thrust and working on like leg shit versus hers from just
from the
being
thickness.
a big booty woman. Yeah. So it's like trying to lose weight, and it's like her butt's going to get smaller, but she also doesn't want to have a smaller ass than my ass. And her ass is big, but it's like, damn, like, so
it's
I
a race
think
of the asses.
yeah, I think this Raffle and I mean Thick Gachi, and it kind of
Gachi.
yeah. It's a D booty right there.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't actually know Gachis had booties, but that is the nicest booty I've seen in a Gachi, if I've ever seen one.
Just minus the stink cloud coming out from behind it.
Yeah, don't stand in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right.
This is a really awesome piece. Yeah, so I think that's all we have for today. Do you got anything else? We got the hangout tomorrow.
We have the hangout tomorrow. What else do we have? There'll be an Orium game night next week. I might be doing an AMA with the game Robo Heroes on Solana at some point next week with Orium. Also, check out, let me see if I can find the link. Orium Network launched a Infinity's Keys quest, which you can complete with Avagachis or with Cometh, because we're now on Cometh. We actually did a Twitter space with yeah, here it goes. We did a Twitter space with Cometh and Infinity Keys because we're both running Gachi, I mean, not Gachi, like Infinity Keys quest. Our quest can be completed either with Avagachis or Cometh. So go and check it out. and that's going to be running for now. We're going to have I'm trying to think if there's anything else happening, just like the regular stuff that we do.
Yeah,
We'll be doing it all week.
we do what we do. Yeah, tomorrow 2 p.m. UTC. That's where we'll be at next. That's all I got, man. I'm gonna go chill for the rest of the evening. I got a couple joints to roll. I might go for a walk with the dog. Dog's doing really well. Just got a second set of vaccines the other day, so starting to take him out on little walks and stuff. So that's been good. He's been a little bit of a killer. He's got me a few times. I can't really show, but little cuts everywhere. They'll get
Is
you.
he biting you or just jumping?
Biting.
Ah.
Yeah, he's still teething. They're not like he's not like sinking his teeth in, but they're kind of like play bites, and sometimes they get a little bit rough because they're still puppies. So that's you gotta know where to draw the line so they know. He's learning. He's learning. For
My
sure.
girlfriend's dog is good, but we went on a boat. This is the last thing I'll say before you jump off. We went on a boat a couple days ago and like basically took the pontoon to the other side of a lake, found a mud bank, and then they set up a bonfire, which was cool as fuck, except there were so many mosquitoes. So like I put mosquito repellent on my legs and arms. I have no mosquito bites on my arms, but my legs are covered in mosquito bites. And this happened like 2 days ago, but the mosquito bites are becoming like itchy now. So like the way I deal with them is I just scratch them off. So I have all these marks all over my fucking leg from all these mosquitoes. I've been like just going at it all day. It's so bad.
Dang. Unfortunately, I do the same thing.
Yeah, gotta wear pants when I go into the wilderness.
Hell yeah, man. Well, we will see y'all tomorrow. And I got nothing else, man. I think it's a good place to end off right here. So check us out on Spotify. We'll be getting these episodes on there shortly. Have a good rest of your night, y'all. Yeah. Peace.
Peace.